Emma Rodriguez pressed her small face against the large window of the Starlight Harmony and watched the stars move past like tiny diamonds on black cloth. The ship was bigger than any building she had ever seen on Earth, and it was taking her and her mom to meet aliens for the first time in human history. Emma was 10 years old, and she thought this was the most exciting thing that could ever happen to anyone. Her mom, Dr. Lisa Rodriguez, was working in the language lab 3 doors down from their small room. Lisa was one of the smartest people Emma knew, and the government had picked her to help talk to the aliens when they met them. Emma was proud of her mom, but she also felt lonely most of the time because Lisa worked so much. Ever since Emma's dad died in the mining accident 3 years ago, Lisa had to work extra hard to take care of them both. The Starlight Harmony had been flying through space for 2 weeks now, and Emma had made friends with some of the crew members. There was Captain Ben Martinez, who always had candy in his pockets, and Chief Engineer Amy Watson, who let Emma watch her fix things in the engine room. But the person Emma liked most was Commander Kai Thorne, who was in charge of keeping everyone safe on the ship. Commander Thorne was tall and had kind brown eyes, and he always stopped to talk to Emma when he saw her in the hallways. He never talked to her like she was just a little kid, but like she was a real person with important things to say. Emma noticed that he also talked to her mom in a special way during the meetings she sometimes got to watch. His voice got softer when he spoke to Lisa, and he smiled more than he did with other people. Emma had been thinking about this for days now. Her mom was pretty and smart and funny, but she was also sad sometimes when she thought Emma was not looking. Emma missed having a dad, and she could tell that her mom missed having someone to love who was not her daughter. Emma had watched enough movies to know what adults looked like when they liked each other, and she was sure that Commander Thorne liked her mom, and her mom liked him back, but they were both too shy or busy to do anything about it. The ship's computer made a soft sound and announced that they would reach the meeting point with the alien ship in 2 days. Emma felt excited and scared at the same time. She had seen pictures of the aliens they were going to meet, and they looked very different from humans. The Khazari were tall and had dark blue skin and extra arms, and they were supposed to be very strong warriors. The grown-ups had been having lots of meetings about how to talk to them without making them angry. Emma left the window and walked down the hallway toward the dining area. She was hoping to find Commander Thorne there because she had been thinking about something important all day, and she needed to talk to him about it. The dining area was big and bright with tables and chairs that could be moved around. Most of the crew ate their meals here, and it was usually full of people talking and laughing. She found Commander Thorne sitting alone at a corner table eating his dinner and reading something on his tablet. He looked up when she walked over and smiled at her in that nice way he always did. "Hello, Emma," he said, and moved his tablet away so she could sit down across from him. "How was your day? Did you finish that book about space travel that Captain Martinez gave you?" "I finished it yesterday," Emma said as she climbed onto the chair. "It was good, but it did not have any aliens in it, just humans flying around to different planets." "Well, in a couple of days you will get to meet some real aliens," Commander Thorne said. "Are you excited about that?" "Yes, but I am also nervous," Emma said. "What if they do not like us? What if we say something wrong and they get mad?" Commander Thorne put down his fork and looked at her seriously. "That is a very smart thing to worry about, Emma. That is why your mom and all the other experts have been working so hard to learn about the Khazari and their culture. We want to make sure we understand each other." Emma nodded, but she was thinking about something else now. She had been planning what to say for days, but now that the moment was here, she felt nervous. She took a deep breath and decided to just say it. "Commander Thorne, I need to ask you something very important," she said. "Of course, Emma, what is it?" Emma looked right at him and said, "My mom needs a husband and I want a dad. You should marry her and me." Commander Thorne stopped chewing and stared at her with wide eyes. His mouth was open a little bit and he looked like someone had just told him that the ship was on fire. Emma waited for him to say something, but he just kept staring. "I have been watching you," Emma continued. "You like my mom, and she likes you, but you are both too scared to do anything about it. Adults are weird that way. You smile at her in a special way, and she gets happy when you come to her meetings. Also, you always ask how I'm doing when you see her, which means you care about me too." Commander Thorne finally closed his mouth and put his hands on the table. "Emma, that is, your mom and I are colleagues. We work together. We barely know each other." That is not true, Emma said. You know she likes coffee with extra sugar and no cream because you brought her some yesterday. You know she gets worried about me when I am not in our room because you helped her look for me last week. You know she is scared about meeting the aliens because you told her everything would be okay, and she believed you. Commander Thorne rubbed his face with his hands. Emma, this is very complicated. Marriage is not something people do just because a little girl thinks it is a good idea. Why not? Emma asked. You both need someone to love, and I need a dad who will not die in a mining accident. You are strong and brave, and you would take good care of us. Also, you are already here on the ship, so we would not have to move anywhere. Emma, your mom might not want to get married again. She might be happy just taking care of you by herself. She is not happy, Emma said quietly. She cries sometimes at night when she thinks I am sleeping. She looks at pictures of my dad on her tablet and gets sad. She works all the time because she does not want to think about being lonely, but she would be happy if she had you. Commander Thorne was quiet for a long time. Emma could see him thinking hard about what she had said. Finally, he spoke. Emma, even if everything you said was true, I cannot just ask your mom to marry me. We would need to get to know each other better first. We would need to spend time together and see if we really do like each other the way you think we do. Okay, Emma said. So let us do that. You can start coming to dinner with us and maybe you can help me with my homework sometimes. Mom likes smart people, and you are very smart about space and ships and keeping people safe. Commander Thorne smiled a little bit. You have really thought about this, have you? Yes, I have been planning it for a week. I even looked up how marriages work in different cultures on the ship's computer. Did you know that some aliens get married by fighting each other, and some get married by singing songs together, and some get married by sharing food? I did not know that, Commander Thorne said. You have been doing research. I want to understand the aliens we are going to meet too, Emma said. Maybe they will think it is good that we are trying to make a new family. Maybe they will like humans better if they see that we take care of each other. Commander Thorne looked at her for a moment, and then he laughed. It was not a mean laugh, but a surprised, happy laugh. Emma Rodriguez, he said, you are going to be a very good diplomat someday. The next morning, Emma woke up early and found her mom already dressed and drinking coffee in their small room. Lisa had dark circles under her eyes, which meant she had not slept much again. Emma knew her mom was worried about meeting the aliens today, and she felt bad that she had not told her about the conversation with Commander Thorne yet. Good morning, baby, Lisa said and gave Emma a hug. Are you ready for the big day? We are going to make history today. Mom, Emma said, as she put on her best dress. Can I ask you something? Of course, sweetheart. What is it? Emma decided to test the waters first before telling her mom about her marriage plan. What do you think about Commander Thorne? Lisa looked surprised by the question. What do you mean? He is a good officer, and he has been very helpful with the security planning for today. But what do you think about him as a person? Emma pressed. Do you like him? Lisa got that look on her face that meant she was thinking about how to answer a tricky question. He seems like a very nice man, Emma. Why are you asking? Just wondering, Emma said. But she was already making new plans in her head. 2 hours later, Emma was sitting in the observation deck with her mom and about 20 other humans watching a huge alien ship appear in the darkness of space. The Khazari vessel looked nothing like human ships. It was long and sharp like a sword, and covered in strange patterns that seemed to move in the light from the nearby star. Captain Martinez was talking to the alien ship on the radio, and Emma could hear strange voices speaking in a language that sounded like music mixed with growling. Her mom was listening carefully and taking notes on her tablet. Commander Thorne stood behind them, watching everything with sharp eyes. They are requesting permission to send a small group over to our ship, Captain Martinez announced. They want to meet in our main conference room in 1 hour. Emma felt excited and scared at the same time. She was going to be one of the first human children to ever see aliens up close. Her mom had fought hard to get permission for Emma to attend the meeting because she said children were important in many alien cultures. When the hour was up, Emma walked into the conference room holding her mom's hand. The room had been set up with a long table and chairs on one side for the humans and different kinds of seats on the other side for the aliens. Emma had never seen furniture designed for people with 4 arms before. The aliens came through the airlock wearing what looked like fancy armor covered in jewels and symbols. They were even taller than Emma had expected, and their blue skin seemed to shimmer under the lights. The leader had more decorations than the others, and when he spoke, his voice was deep and musical. "I am High Commander Vrathan of the Khazari Star Fleet," he said through the translation device. "We greet you humans in the name of peace and understanding." Captain Martinez stood up and introduced all the humans, including Emma. When the High Commander looked at her, Emma felt like he was seeing right through her with his large golden eyes. The meeting started with both sides talking about their cultures and trying to understand each other. Emma listened carefully as her mom explained human languages and the aliens talked about their history. But she noticed that something was wrong. The aliens kept looking at her mom and her with confused expressions. Finally, High Commander Vrathan stopped the conversation. "We must ask about something that troubles us," he said. "Dr. Rodriguez, you are here with a child, but we do not see a mate. In Khazari culture, this would indicate an unstable family unit. How can we trust someone who cannot maintain proper family bonds?" Emma felt her mom go very still beside her. Lisa's face got red, and she looked embarrassed and angry at the same time. "Commander Vrathan," Lisa said in a careful voice, "humans have many different types of families. I am a single mother, which means I raise my daughter by myself. My husband died, and I chose to continue caring for Emma alone. This does not make me unstable." The aliens talked among themselves in their musical language for several minutes. Emma could tell they were not happy about something. When High Commander Vrathan spoke again, his voice was more formal and cold. "We understand that death separates families, but we do not understand why you have not chosen a new mate to complete your family unit. Incomplete families suggest emotional instability and poor decision-making. These are not qualities we seek in diplomatic partners." Emma watched her mom's face get redder and saw Commander Thorne step forward like he wanted to say something. But before anyone else could speak, Emma stood up on her chair so she would be tall enough to see over the table. "Hi, Commander Vrathan," she said in her loudest voice. "May I explain something about human families?" Everyone in the room turned to look at her. Her mom tried to pull her back down, but Emma gently moved her hand away. High Commander Vrathan looked surprised, but he nodded. "The small human may speak." "Thank you," Emma said politely. "My mom is not incomplete or unstable. She is the strongest person I know. When my dad died, she could have given up, but instead, she worked harder to take care of me. She learned new languages and became an expert so she could help humans and aliens understand each other. She makes sure I eat good food and do my homework and feel safe every day. She does the job of two parents all by herself." The aliens listened carefully as Emma spoke. She noticed that some of them were leaning forward like they wanted to hear better. "But you are right that families are important," Emma continued. "That is why I have been trying to help my mom find a new husband. Humans can make new families. When old ones get broken, we can choose people to love who are not related to us by blood. This makes us stronger, not weaker, because it means we can adapt and grow." High Commander Vrathan's golden eyes seemed to get brighter. "You have been searching for a new family unit? This is interesting. How does a small human accomplish such a task?" Emma smiled and pointed at Commander Thorne, who looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. "I asked Commander Thorne to marry my mom and adopt me as his daughter. He is strong and kind, and he already cares about us. He would make a good husband and father." The room got very quiet. Emma could hear the sound of the ship's engines and the soft beeping of computers, but nobody said anything. Her mom was staring at her with wide eyes, and Commander Thorne's face was completely red. Finally, one of the younger aliens made a sound that the translator said was laughter. "The small human is a matchmaker," he said. "She seeks to repair her family unit through strategic alliance. This shows wisdom and long-term planning." High Commander Vrathan looked at Commander Thorne. "Human warrior, what is your response to this proposal?" Commander Thorne cleared his throat several times before he could speak. "High Commander, this is not how human courtship normally works. The child has misunderstood the situation." "But do you care for the female and her offspring?" the High Commander pressed. "Would they be safe and well provided for under your protection?" "Yes, of course, but—" "Then what prevents this alliance?" another alien asked. Is the female not suitable? Is the child defective in some way? No, Commander Thorne said quickly. Dr. Rodriguez is highly intelligent and capable, and Emma is a remarkable child. But marriage requires mutual affection and commitment that develops over time. Ah, High Commander, Vrathan said, and he sounded like he understood something now. You require a courtship period to determine compatibility. This is reasonable. Many species have similar customs. Emma saw her chance and took it. That is exactly what I told Commander Thorne yesterday, she said. I suggested that he start having dinner with us and helping me with homework so they can get to know each other better. Humans like to become friends first before they become mates. The High Commander nodded approvingly. The small human shows excellent diplomatic skills. She identifies a problem, proposes a solution, and creates a timeline for implementation. Perhaps human family flexibility is indeed a strength rather than a weakness. Emma looked at her mom, who was still staring at her in shock. Then she looked at Commander Thorne, who was looking at her mom with an expression Emma could not quite read. The question remains, High Commander Vrathan said, whether both adult humans are willing to explore this potential alliance. We would view such adaptability and commitment to family stability as positive indicators for diplomatic relations. Emma held her breath and waited to see what would happen next. Lisa Rodriguez felt like the floor of the conference room was moving under her feet, even though she knew the ship was perfectly stable. Her 10-year-old daughter had just proposed marriage on her behalf to a man she barely knew in front of a room full of aliens who were now waiting for her answer. She looked at Commander Thorne and saw that he looked just as shocked and confused as she felt. Emma, honey, Lisa said in the gentlest voice she could manage. This is not something we should discuss in a diplomatic meeting. Perhaps we could talk about this later in private. But High Commander Vrathan held up one of his 4 hands. Dr. Rodriguez, we do not wish to cause discomfort, but this matter directly affects our ability to trust human diplomatic capabilities. Your daughter has demonstrated problem-solving skills and cultural adaptation that we find impressive. We would like to understand more about human family formation. Emma was still standing on her chair, looking very serious and grown up. Mom, the High Commander is right. This is about more than just us. If the aliens think humans are unstable because we have different kinds of families, then they might not want to be friends with us. But if we show them that we can make strong families in new ways, then maybe they will think humans are smart and adaptable. Another alien who had been introduced as cultural advisor, Zeth, spoke up. The small human raises an important point. We have studied your species and found many confusing social structures. Single-parent units, divorced pairs, blended families, adoptions. In our culture, these would indicate chaos and unreliability. But perhaps we have misunderstood their purpose. Commander Thorne finally found his voice. Cultural advisor Zeth Human. Families come in many forms because humans face many different challenges. We adapt our social structures to meet changing needs. This flexibility has helped our species survive and thrive. Exactly, Emma said excitedly. That is what I was trying to explain. When something bad happens to a human family, we do not just give up. We find new ways to make it work. Mom and I were sad when Dad died, but we did not stop being a family. We just became a different kind of family. High Commander Vrathan leaned forward in his strange chair. And now you seek to expand this family unit again, but not through biological reproduction. Through choice and mutual benefit. Right, Emma said. Commander Thorne is already nice to us, and he makes Mom smile. He would be a good addition to our family. And Mom is smart and funny, and she makes really good pancakes. She would be a good addition to Commander Thorne's family too, even though right now his family is just him. Lisa felt her face burning with embarrassment, but she also noticed something interesting happening. The aliens were listening to Emma with genuine interest and respect. They were not talking down to her or dismissing her ideas because she was a child. In fact, they seemed to value her perspective more than the adult human perspectives they had. Heard so far, cultural advisor Zeth asked Emma a question directly. Small human, what would happen if this proposed alliance did not work successfully? What would your family unit do then? Emma thought about this seriously for a moment. Well, we would still be okay, because Mom and I are already a complete family, by ourselves. But we would be sad because we would have lost a friend. And Commander Thorne would be sad too. But humans know that sometimes relationships do not work out, and that does not mean we stop trying to form new ones. Remarkable, another alien said. They view failed pair bonds as learning experiences rather than permanent damage to the family. Structure, High Commander Vrathan looked at Lisa and Commander Thorn. Is this accurate? Would a failed romantic relationship not destroy your family unit's stability? Lisa found herself answering honestly. No, it would not. Emma and I were a family before we met Commander Thorn, and we would continue to be a family, regardless of what happens between him and me. But... She paused and looked at her daughter's hopeful face. Emma is right that we have room in our lives for someone else if that person truly wanted to be part of our family. Commander Thorn was quiet for a long moment. Everyone in the room was looking at him, waiting for his response. Finally, he spoke directly to Emma. Emma, if I were to consider this proposal, what would you expect from me as a father figure? Emma's face lit up with excitement. You would help Mom when she gets stressed about work. You would teach me things like how ships work and how to be brave when I am scared. You would eat dinner with us and maybe read me bedtime stories sometimes. You would hug Mom when she is sad and hug me when I have bad dreams. You would be part of our team. And what would you and your mother offer to me in return? Mom would have someone to talk to about grown-up things and someone to share her worries with so she does not have to carry them all by herself. I would have someone to play games with and ask questions when Mom is busy working. We would take care of you when you are sick and celebrate your birthday and make sure you are not lonely. We would be your team too. High Commander Vrathan made a sound that the translator interpreted as approval. The child understands reciprocal obligations and mutual support. These are the foundations of stable alliances. Cultural advisor Zeth addressed the room. We have observed something unexpected here. The human child has demonstrated diplomatic skills that surpass many adult negotiations we have witnessed. She identified a problem, analyzed the needs of all parties involved, and proposed a mutually beneficial solution. She has also shown us that human social flexibility may be an advantage in complex situations. Emma beamed at the praise, but then her expression became more serious. Cultural advisor Zeth, can I ask you something about Khazari families? Of course. Small diplomat. In your culture, do children have any say in who their parents choose as mates? Or do adults make all those decisions by themselves? The aliens exchanged looks that seemed significant. Cultural advisor Zeth answered carefully. In traditional Khazari culture, children of a certain age are consulted about potential additions to the family unit. Their approval is considered important for family harmony. Young ones often see things that adults miss because they are not clouded by adult concerns. That is what I thought, Emma said. So really what I am doing is not that different from what Khazari children do. I am just doing it in the human way. By asking directly instead of waiting to be asked, High Commander Vrathan stood up suddenly, and Emma worried that she had said something wrong. But when he spoke, his voice sounded pleased. Small human Emma Rodriguez, we officially recognize you as a cultural ambassador between our species. Your insights have helped us understand that human family adaptation is a strength that could be valuable in interstellar relations. Flexible social structures may be exactly what the galaxy needs as more species make contact with each other. Emma looked at her mom and Commander Thorn with wide eyes. Does this mean I get to help with more alien meetings? If your family unit agrees, High Commander Vrathan said, we would be honored to continue learning from your perspective. Lisa felt a strange mix of pride and terror. Her daughter had just accidentally become humanity's first child diplomat and had somehow managed to turn an embarrassing personal situation into a breakthrough in interspecies relations. Commander Thorn cleared his throat. Dr. Rodriguez, Emma, if you are both willing, I would very much like to accept Emma's proposal to explore the possibility of becoming a family. I think we could all benefit from getting to know each other better. Emma jumped down from her chair and ran around the table to hug Commander Thorn around the waist. Really? You really want to try being my dad? I really do, he said and looked over Emma's head at Lisa with an expression that made her heart skip a beat. High Commander Vrathan clapped all four of his hands together. Excellent. We look forward to observing this human family formation process. It may provide valuable insights for future diplomatic relations. Emma looked up at the High Commander with a big smile. High Commander Vrathan, would you like to come to our wedding if Mom and Commander Thorn decide to get married? The alien leader made the sound that meant laughter again. Small Ambassador Emma, it would be an honor. 3 days after the first meeting with the Khazari, the Starlight Harmony was hosting representatives from 5 different alien species. Emma had become something of a celebrity among the crew and the aliens alike. Everyone wanted to meet the human child who had turned a diplomatic crisis into a breakthrough by proposing marriage for her mother. Emma was sitting in the ship's library reading about Vorth family structures when cultural advisor Zeth found her. The tall blue alien folded his long legs under him to sit on the floor next to her chair. "Small Ambassador Emma," he said, "I have been thinking about our conversation 3 days ago, and I have questions." "I like questions," Emma said, closing her book. "What do you want to know?" "You spoke of human adaptability as a strength, but I wonder about the emotional cost. Does it not cause pain to form new family bonds after losing previous ones?" Emma thought about this carefully. It was the kind of question adults asked when they wanted a real answer, not just a simple one. "Yes, it hurts," she said finally. "When my dad died, it hurt so much I thought I might die too. And I know Mom was scared about loving someone new because, what if they died too? Or what if they did not really love us back? Then why take such risks? Because the hurt of being alone is worse than the risk of getting hurt again," Emma said. "And because even if love ends, it does not mean it was not real while it lasted. I will always love my dad even though he is gone. That love does not disappear, just because he is not here anymore." Cultural advisor, Zeth was quiet for a moment. "Your species forms emotional attachments, knowing they may be temporary. This seems inefficient," Emma laughed. "Maybe, but it is also what makes us human. We love people not because we know it will last forever, but because it feels good right now, and because caring about someone makes both people better. The Khazari form life bonds that are intended to be permanent. If a bond fails, it brings shame to the entire family unit." "That sounds scary," Emma said. "What if 2 people grow up and change and do not like the same things anymore? What if they are not happy together, but they have to stay together anyway? That does not sound like love to me. That sounds like being trapped." Before cultural advisor Zeth could answer, Commander Thorne appeared in the doorway of the library. He had been having dinner with Emma and Lisa every night since the meeting, and Emma thought he was fitting into their little family very well. "Emma, your mom is looking for you. The Vorth delegation wants to meet with you before the big conference tomorrow." Emma jumped up excitedly. The Vorth were a species that lived in large communal groups and shared everything, including raising children. Emma was curious about how their families worked. She found Lisa in the conference room talking with 3 Vorth who looked like tall, thin humans, except their skin was silver and they had no hair at all. They spoke in perfect unison, which was strange and beautiful at the same time. "Emma Rodriguez," they said together. "We are the Vorth speakers for the Harmony of Families. We have heard of your wisdom regarding human social bonds, and we wish to learn." Emma sat down across from them, feeling a little nervous about being called wise. "I am not sure I am wise. I just say what I think is true." "That is the definition of wisdom, small human," the Vorth replied. "We have a question about your proposal to create a new family unit. In Vorth culture, all children belong to the community and are raised by many adults. But we have observed that human children form specific attachments to particular adults. How do you choose which adults deserve your loyalty?" Emma had never thought about it that way before. "I guess I choose adults who choose me back. Commander Thorne did not have to be nice to me when we first met, but he was anyway. He remembers things I tell him, and he asks about things that are important to me. He makes Mom laugh, and he makes me feel safe. So I decided he would be a good person to love. And if he had rejected your proposal, if he had chosen not to join your family unit, then I would have been sad, but I would have respected his choice. You cannot make someone love you. Love has to be something both people want." The Vorth speakers tilted their heads in unison. "But you took a great risk. You revealed your desires publicly before knowing his response. This could have resulted in social embarrassment." Emma shrugged. "Maybe, but it also meant that everyone knew what I wanted. Sometimes adults are bad at talking about feelings because they are worried about looking silly. But feelings are not silly. They are important. If I had not said anything, Mom and Commander Thorne might have spent months being shy and never finding out that they both liked each other." Lisa, who had been listening quietly, spoke up. Emma is right. I was attracted to Commander Thorne, but I never would have acted on it. I was too focused on my work and too afraid of being rejected or of complicating the mission. Commander Thorne entered the room just in time to hear this. I felt the same way. I thought Dr. Rodriguez was remarkable, but I assumed she would not be interested in a career military officer with no family experience. The Vorth speakers made a harmonious humming sound. So the child served as a catalyst to overcome adult social inhibitions. Fascinating. In our culture, such directness is valued, but we achieve it through collective decision-making. The human approach of individual initiative is different, but perhaps equally effective. Emma had an idea. Vorth speakers, can I ask you something? In your culture, do you ever have problems with families from different communities not getting along? Yes. Small human. Sometimes communities disagree about resource allocation or child-rearing practices. These conflicts can last for generations. What if you tried the human way? What if instead of whole communities arguing, you had individuals from each side become friends first? Like if one person from your community married someone from their community and their children learned both ways of doing things? The Vorth speakers were quiet for a long time. Finally, they spoke in voices that did not quite match each other, which Emma had learned meant they were having an internal disagreement. The small humans suggest using personal bonds to bridge community divisions, one voice said. This is not our traditional approach, but it has merit, another voice added. Personal connections are stronger than political alliances. We must consider this perspective, the third voice concluded. Over the next hour, Emma found herself in the middle of an impromptu diplomatic session. The Vorth asked her questions about human relationship building, and she found herself explaining concepts she had never really thought about before. How humans could love people who were very different from them. How children could help adults see new possibilities. How taking emotional risks could lead to stronger communities. Cultural advisor Zeth arrived partway through the conversation and listened with interest. When there was a pause, he spoke to the room. I have been observing human family dynamics for several days now, and I believe we have all underestimated their diplomatic potential. Small Ambassador Emma has demonstrated skills that could be valuable in many interspecies conflicts. What do you mean? Lisa asked. She identifies core, emotional needs that underlie surface disagreements. She proposes solutions based on mutual benefit rather than competition. She communicates with sincerity that builds trust quickly. These are rare qualities in any species. Emma felt proud, but also confused. I am just trying to help people be happy. Is that really diplomacy? The best diplomacy is exactly that, Commander Thorne said. Finding ways for everyone to get what they truly need. The Vorth speakers hummed again. We would like to propose something. Tomorrow, when all species meet together, we wish small Ambassador Emma to facilitate part of the discussion. We believe her perspective could help us reach agreements that traditional diplomatic methods have not achieved. Emma looked at her mom nervously. Would that be okay? What if I say something wrong? Lisa smiled and reached over to squeeze Emma's hand. Sweetheart, you have been saying everything right so far. I think you should do it. I will be right there with you, Commander Thorne added. And remember, what got us this far was just being honest about what you really wanted. Keep doing that. Emma nodded slowly. Tomorrow she would try to help 5 different alien species understand each other better. It seemed like a big responsibility for a 10-year-old, but she was starting to realize that sometimes being young was actually an advantage. Adults made things complicated because they worried too much about being wrong. Children just tried to help because helping felt good. Okay? She said. I will try. 6 months later, Emma Rodriguez Thorne stood in the observation deck of the New Horizon, watching a beautiful blue and green planet grow larger as their ship approached. She was wearing a fancy white dress with silver threads that sparkled like stars, and she had flowers in her hair that smelled like Earth springtime. Today was the most special day of her life for 3 different reasons. First, it was the day her mom, Dr. Lisa Rodriguez, would marry Commander Kai Thorne and become Mrs. Lisa Thorne. Second, it was the day that Kai would officially adopt Emma and become her legal father, making her Emma Rodriguez Thorne. Third, It was the day they would sign the Galactic Cultural Understanding Accord that had grown out of Emma's diplomatic work over the past months. The planet below was called Harmony, and it had been chosen as the site for the ceremony because it was the first world jointly colonized by multiple species working together. The Zilani and Hector had built the first settlement there using the cooperation model Emma had helped them develop. Now 12 different species lived and worked together on Harmony's surface. Emma heard footsteps behind her and turned to see her mom approaching. Lisa looked more beautiful than Emma had ever seen her, wearing a long dress that seemed to be made of captured starlight. Her hair was styled with tiny crystals that different alien species had given her as wedding gifts. "Are you ready, sweetheart?" Lisa asked, taking Emma's hand. "I have been ready for months," Emma replied with a big smile. "Are you nervous, Mom?" Little," Lisa admitted. "But not about marrying Kai. I am nervous about all the important people who will be watching. 300 representatives from 40 different species is a lot of witnesses." Emma squeezed her mom's hand. "Do not worry, Mom. Everyone here loves our family. We showed them that humans can make beautiful things happen when we work together." They walked together toward the main hall where the ceremony would take place. The corridors of the New Horizon were decorated with flowers and crystals and artistic gifts from dozens of worlds. Emma had never seen anything so beautiful. When they reached the entrance to the main hall, Emma could hear the sound of many different types of music blending together into something that made her heart feel light and happy. Captain Martinez was waiting for them in his best uniform. "Ladies," he said with a bow, "everyone is ready for you." Emma peeked into the hall and gasped. The room had been transformed into something that looked like a fairy tale garden mixed with a space station. There were plants and flowers from many worlds creating archways of color and light. The ceiling showed a view of the stars outside, and holographic butterflies floated through the air carrying tiny lights. But the most amazing thing was all the beings gathered to celebrate with them. Emma could see High Commander Vrathan in ceremonial armor that gleamed like jewels. The Vorth speakers wore flowing robes that seemed to be made of liquid silver. Cultural advisor Zeth had painted intricate patterns on his blue skin in colors Emma had never seen before. Even Commander Vex from the Korthax Empire was there, wearing what Emma assumed were his nicest weapons. At the front of the room stood Kai in his dress uniform, looking handsome and nervous and happy all at the same time. When he saw Emma and Lisa, his face lit up with such joy that Emma felt like she might float away from happiness. The music changed to signal the start of the ceremony, and Emma walked down the aisle first, carrying a basket of flower petals from Earth. She scattered them as she walked, just like she had practiced. When she reached the front, she turned to watch her mom walk toward her new life. Lisa moved slowly down the aisle, smiling at all the friends they had made during their diplomatic journey. Emma noticed that many of the aliens were wiping their eyes or making sounds that meant happiness in their cultures. Even species that did not usually show emotion seemed moved by the sight of the human family coming together. When Lisa reached the front, Captain Martinez began the ceremony by explaining the human tradition of marriage and the legal process of adoption. Then High Commander Vrathan stepped forward to speak about Khazari concepts of family honor and chosen bonds. The Vorth speakers sang a harmony about the strength found in unity. But the part Emma liked best came when she got to speak. Captain Martinez called her forward, and she stood between her mom and Kai, holding both their hands. 6 months ago, I asked Commander Thorne to marry my mom and me because I thought we could make a good family together, Emma said, looking out at all the assembled beings. I did not know that our little family decision would help start something bigger, but I learned that when people choose to love each other and take care of each other, it makes everyone around them stronger too. She turned to look at Kai. Kai, you have been the best almost dad I could have asked for. You read me bedtime stories and help me with my homework, and you make my mom laugh every single day. You keep us safe, and you make our little ship feel like home, no matter where we are traveling. I want you to be my real dad forever. Then she looked at her mom. Mom, you taught me that families can grow and change and become something new while still honoring what came before. You showed me that being brave enough to love someone new does not mean forgetting someone who is gone. Dad would be happy that we found someone as good as Kai to join our family. Finally, Emma addressed the audience. High Commander Vrathan Cultural, Advisor Zeth Vorth, Speakers Commander Vex, and all our friends from across the galaxy, thank you for showing me that families are not just the people who live in the same house. Families can be anyone who chooses to care about each other and work together to make good things happen. Today, we are not just making a new human family. We are celebrating the galactic family that we have all chosen to build together. The hall erupted in sounds of joy and approval from dozens of different species. Emma heard Khazari battle cries of honor, Vorth harmonic singing, Hektar celebratory clicking, and even what she was pretty sure was Korthak's laughter. Captain Martinez performed the marriage ceremony and the adoption ceremony, while representatives from multiple worlds witnessed and signed the official documents. When he pronounced Kai and Lisa married and declared Emma officially adopted, the celebration moved into full swing. There was music and dancing and food from many worlds. Emma got to try dishes she had never imagined and learn dance steps from species with completely different numbers of limbs. High Commander Vrathan taught her a Khazari celebration dance that involved a lot of jumping and shouting. The Vorth speakers showed her how to harmonize with their singing, even though human voices could not make all the same sounds. But the most special moment came when the time arrived to sign the Galactic Cultural Understanding Accord. Emma had helped write parts of the document with input from all the species represented. The accord established new principles for interspecies relations based on cooperation, shared resources, and respect for different types of families and social structures. Emma signed her name with a special pen that High Commander Vrathan had given her. Her signature looked very small next to all the alien symbols and marks, but she felt proud to see it there. She was probably the youngest being ever to sign a galactic treaty. After the signing ceremony, Cultural Advisor Zeth approached Emma with a small wrapped gift. "Small Ambassador Emma," he said, "the Khazari Council has asked me to present you with this token of our respect and gratitude." Emma unwrapped the gift carefully and found a small crystal that seemed to contain tiny moving lights. "It is beautiful," she said. "What is it?" "It is a Khazari family stone," Zeth explained. "When a new member joins a Khazari family, they receive one of these. The lights inside represent all the family members who welcome the new addition. We wanted you to know that you are considered part of the extended Khazari family now." Emma felt tears in her eyes as she hugged the crystal close to her chest. "Thank you, Cultural Advisor Zeth. This is the best present I have ever received." Later that night, as the celebration wound down, Emma found herself back in the observation deck looking out at the stars. Her mom and new dad joined her there, still wearing their wedding clothes, but with comfortable shoes now. "Are you happy, Emma?" Kai asked, putting his arm around her shoulders. "I am the happiest I have ever been in my whole life," Emma replied. "We have the best family and the best friends in the galaxy." Lisa sat down next to them and pulled Emma onto her lap, like she used to do when Emma was smaller. "I am so proud of you, sweetheart. You took a simple wish for a family and turned it into something that changed how entire civilizations think about relationships." "I just wanted us to be happy," Emma said. "But I learned that when you make one family happy, it helps other families be happy too. And when families are happy, they make their communities happy. And when communities are happy, they make their whole worlds happy." Kai laughed gently. "That sounds like something a very wise diplomat would say." Emma smiled and snuggled closer to her parents. Tomorrow, they would travel to another new world where she would help mediate a conflict between species who could not agree on trade regulations. Next month, they would attend the first interspecies cultural festival where beings from 50 worlds would share art and music and stories. But tonight, Emma Rodriguez Thorne was exactly where she wanted to be, surrounded by the family she had chosen and who had chosen her back. She had learned that the most important diplomatic skill was simply